Okay.
Hey everyone, how's it going? Joe and Mike back here to talk about the NBA games from last night, starting with the Cavaliers and the Celtics. I let you take the lead the last few Celtics, so I'm gonna snag this one from you. First things first, no Donovan Mitchell in this game, so I'll be honest, at that point I was just like, okay, so I can just do whatever I want and not have to watch. Unfortunately, it was a little closer than that. An early lead for the Cavaliers diminished with a 12 with 12 straight points from the Jays, which is something that we really wanted to see these playoffs. Not only Tatum playing better, but them playing well together, and they definitely played well together in the first quarter. Karis LeVert started pretty hot as well. Darius Garland, when you look at the final score, you'd be surprised to know that he didn't score a single point in the first quarter. But that changed. That definitely changed.
I
He
think I
drives and
think
makes
real quick, I think that there's a clip of me after the Cavs win somewhere of like I think Garland had like 18 points or something that night, or he might have even had like 21 or something. But I just remember like when I was like freaking out about it, I was like, Garland's never gonna ever have a game like this again. He will never like score this amount of points again. And I
I
was
said
watching the game last night and I just saw it pop up because I missed like maybe like the first quarter. And then I saw like Garland was going off. I'm like, Jesus, I'm like, how many points does this guy have? And they said he had 30. And I was like, oh man, I did not think that
the
was gonna
what was I gonna yeah, the one I did yesterday without you, I was like, I'm really glad Mike isn't here. And because DiVincenzo had 7. But what was I gonna say? Yeah, the Celtics were quietly able to continue building their lead, but Garland kept answering mostly from the three-point line. They kept it close. They really were keeping it close, but the Celtics were mixing up who's hitting their threes. You got a Hauser one in there. Holiday again was great shooting. Who else had I think Horford had an impactful three. We get a 10-point lead. Um, but Garland hits this crazy three in the fourth, gets the crowd into it. But Holiday and Brown, I think they combined to get us ahead by 15. Strus ends up fouling out, and it wasn't a very entertaining game from there on out. But it was entertaining a lot longer than I figured it would without Donovan Mitchell. So the Celtics are now 7-0 when leading after the first, which is also interesting because it means that both losses that we endured, we were not leading after the first. So leading after the first seems to be a very important thing for the Celtics. Tatum, 11 rebounds, 33 points. Quiet 33, I'll say, but still a 33. Brown, 27. Holiday, 16. On the other side of the ball, Garland, 30. Mobley and LeVert had 19. Um, the other the only other thing I have written down here, so you take full control after this one, is the free throws. Cleveland took 7, we took 24. So do with that what you will. Definitely didn't help the Cavaliers, but yeah. So I was gonna say I had two questions for you. I was gonna write these out to you if you weren't able to make it. Number one, is this what you want? It wasn't a loud game in terms of like clutch ass shots from Tatum, but are we where we want to be with him? Or are we just still working in the right direction? And two, are we looking at this as a win, or are we looking at this as why the hell was this so close without Donovan Mitchell?
well, one, I think it's Tatum getting in the right direction.
Mhm.
I guess the only reason why I say that is because it's like, okay, like, yeah, it's a playoff game, but like I don't want to say it didn't mean much, but you're playing against a Cavs team who literally basically their whole team is Donovan Mitchell and he's not playing. So it's like, wait, give me 2 seconds. I just wanted to see
I,
what
I,
it. Oh,
to sub in real quick, I wouldn't say that he's the biggest defensive presence on that team, though, in
no,
terms
no,
of
no,
Tatum
no,
scoring
no, no, no,
33.
no, 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 no. Hear me out though.
No, no.
With his presence gone, it just makes it more of like a lackadaisical game for both
Mm.
teams. I feel like. Um,
Oh yeah.
but I was happy with Tatum's performance. I was happy with Brown's performance too. A lot of people weren't so happy with Brown's performance.
People are always gonna hate on Brown. That's the way it is.
For sure. Drew Holiday with another great performance in my eyes. He's 16, 5, and 7. I mean, that's That's what we want. I mean,
Um,
if we can get anywhere in the ballpark of that from Drew, I also think we're seeing too is that this is how Drew has to play when Porzingis isn't here. I didn't
mm,
factor that. I think his role becomes a little bit more prominent when Porzingis isn't playing. So I think that
right.
was something that we might have missed the last time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, dude. Honestly, like, yeah, it was a weird game, but I guess the reason I'm not like panicking or freaking out about it is because like the Celtics still seemed in control the entire time. Like they weren't
Yeah.
playing bad. Like I
I
don't know.
mean,
Like it just like
I was just gonna say, like near the end of the second quarter, I felt like the ball was because there was only a 1 point difference at one point, and that was when
yeah.
Garland was really cooking. So
No,
that was the one point I'll say that it did feel like the Cavs were in control.
I guess because I guess for me speaking, and again, this is going to be another shot, and he played a great game. But like, if Garland is cooking us for a couple minutes and the game was close, like I still don't view that as we're not in control. I view that as okay, like this guy is going on a run right now. Like if we could just withstand this, which I think we can, we'll be fine, and we did.
Right,
Um,
we did.
so so I don't know, like it was a really weird game though, bro. Like I won't lie to you, but I don't. And again, I can understand why somebody I think if you're concerned after this game, you have valid reasons. But for some
Mhm.
reason, I like I didn't think it was that concerning. Maybe that says to again, me and you talk about this all the time. They play down to their competition. So like
Yes, of
I
course.
wasn't in time, by the way, like there's no excuses in that. It's like, bro, it's the playoffs. I don't give a shit who you're playing. Like
Nope.
you should not like that. That can't fly. Championship teams don't do that, which is what scares me. Championship teams don't do that in the playoffs. They do that in the regular season, sure, but when it comes down to the playoffs, no matter who they're playing, they keep their foot on the gas. So
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, agreed.
in standpoints of winning a championship, I think you could say that was concerning. But again, I think we've had the same concern for the last 3 years with this team, even though it's a different team. I think the same
Mhm.
concern is still there. Where they just have these nights sometimes where they just like sometimes they look like the greatest team ever, and then other times it's like, yo, this team looks horrible. You know, so
Yeah.
yeah, but
I
yeah, I
mean,
mean,
I don't think we look bad. I think Garland just was so if you want my answer to the question, no, I'm not concerned because Garland, like he did a very, very good job in stepping into Mitchell's shoes to replace him. Like, had it been more evenly spread scoring from the Cavaliers, I would have been a little more concerned. But Garland was practically Donovan Mitchell tonight, minus a few points. Like that's how I viewed it anyways. Because you gotta remember the first like 3 or 4 games of the Magic series, Garland did absolutely nothing. Like he was non-existent. I'm like, when are we gonna see this guy do anything? And he finally started
yeah.
playing. Mitchell was playing all those games without him doing any number of points. So this just felt like one of those games in terms of the Cavaliers' offense, except Garland filled the role of Donovan Mitchell, and Mitchell being absent filled the role of Garland.
Now,
He may as
now
well not even been on the damn court those games.
Now let me ask you this, right? And
Mm,
I'm not concerned by this at all. I feel like some new fans might be, and I'm not even boxing you in this because this is, I mean, I know that you haven't been watching basketball much, but this is your third time really watching the Celtics in the playoffs, like for the most part. You know what I mean?
right.
Like, so you've seen a couple things and you know how players play. Do you think that the last two games, are you concerned at all with Derek White with his play?
Because
Okay,
this
that's
this is
good.
this is what we saw in the first 2 games of the Miami Heat series. He didn't do anything in those games, and then game 3, he just started lighting up, and that's the thing. We know he can. There have been players because in that stretch of games, he was the best player. And it wasn't even close, and he had to be the best player, right? Because all the other guys weren't stepping up. So Derek White steps up. Now a couple other guys are stepping up, and he's not playing that well. I think that's a great thing for the team. I think unless we accidentally get caught in a stretch where no one's stepping up and everyone's kind of in that rut mode, which would be absolutely hideous. I think it's just not Derek White's time to step up right now. I think right now he's just kind of taking the back seat. He knows he's taking the back seat. He's not making all his shots. And hopefully, or maybe not hopefully, because hopefully Tatum just rides this to the finals. But hopefully, if there is a game in the future where he starts to notice he's a smart enough guy. He starts to notice, all right, hold on, I need to sharpen up. He sharpens up. So no, I'm
Yeah,
not concerned. I'm not angry. I'm disappointed. I'm, I'm disappointed he hasn't been playing as well because obviously he's my guy. But I'm not concerned about him. No. Um,
I
let me ask you a quick question. If we're able to take it in five, actually, I have two questions and they go together.
Okay,
If
wait,
we're not, if
real quick. Can I just finish my point on Derek White? All I wanted to say real quick was I 100% agree with you, and I'm glad that you said that. And
mm,
that's kind of why I, I made my point badly the other day, my argument. When I said that Derek White, like he can't be our best guy on a championship team because
mhm.
his role is so great. Like he's not going to have it all the time. But I also love the fact that when he doesn't and he knows it's not his night, he could turn that switch off, still give you 7 boards and 5 assists to chip in. You know what I mean? Still play
Yeah,
great defense. And this is Derek White's role. He has just overachieved insanely for us, which is great. I mean, keep doing it. But yeah, so you can go on with your question.
that's why he's gonna be playoff MVP. But so I have two questions that link together. We win this in five. The whole team gets a week's rest. Are we seeing Zingas in game one against whoever it is? And the other question, which is linked, if the Cavaliers somehow stage their comeback and force a game seven, and we realize we need all hands on deck, if Porzingis coming back in a potential game seven.
Um, I would hope not if he's not ready. I know that the verdict was that I'm pretty sure that regardless, he was going to be back for game one of the Eastern Conference Finals. Also, too, it's looking like, and again, I'm looking into the future, but it's looking like this Pacers Knicks series potentially will go seven.
Right.
So I think regardless that it's going to start later, the Eastern Conference Finals. But
Right.
yeah, I
Hopefully.
mean, I'm pretty sure the verdict was that he would be back around game one of the Eastern Conference Finals, but I don't think there's been confirmation on it. But I don't think he would play in game seven against the Cavs now.
I would hope he would just because I feel like it's all precautionary at this point to make sure that doesn't happen. But like I as long as we're in a position comfortable enough where we're not going to get eliminated, obviously we've avoided that at least until a possible game seven. But yeah. And the last thing before we move on to the next game, obviously it needs to be asked because I'm not sure. I didn't even know about it till like right before game time. Donovan Mitchell status for the next game. Any
I have no idea.
Do you even know what the is it an undiagnosed or
I was
undisclosed? I mean,
I was just as in the dark as everybody when I turned the game on in the second quarter when I got home and I didn't see Donovan Mitchell playing. I was like, I have zero idea, no idea.
friggin' what was it? I think Brent texted me. He goes, "No Donovan," because I saw around like noon that he was questionable, and I was like, "Oh, here come the mind games." And then Brent texted me at like 6:30. He's like, "Damn, no Mitchell." I was like, "Oh my God, it wasn't a mind game."
Yeah.
But yeah, let's move on to the Mavericks and the Thunder. Holy holy hell. Um, The way this game began made you think it wasn't going to be a game. Mavericks are at home playing their game, making their shots. Timberwolves making absolutely nothing. They don't get a three until the second quarter. But what was very interesting to me and tells me I don't know who the coach is for the Thunder, but very well coached and very well disciplined players. They stopped taking those threes. And that's something that the Celtics can never do. That whenever they're missing their threes, they're like, no, 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 I'll be the guy. I'll get us back up. No, no, stop. Just go to the paint.
I
And
agree. I agree.
that's what the Thunder did. They started going and shooting from the two. Great mindset to have. And they cut what was like a 15 plus point lead down to 10, and they cut it even more going into the second quarter. Giddy did finally hit a three, but I still didn't see them shooting from three because, I'm sure Giddy just saw like, oh, might as fucking well, and lands it. Kyrie, Kyrie on the other side of the ball had 7 assists in the first half, so he's always. I think he realized that he's just always having these slow ass starts, so he's like, I'm just gonna freaking pass it, I guess, and worked out for him with those 7 assists. Um, the Mavericks, they were the polar opposites from the from the Thunder in terms of how they were scoring their points. They were getting all of theirs from three. And then after halftime, I feel like it swatched. I feel like the Thunder started hitting all these threes and the Mavericks were shooting from the paint. The Mavericks led by 11 at half, but what was I going to say? The Thunder obviously came back and took the lead with like 3 minutes left in the game, which was crazy. And like I said, it was all fueled from a bunch of threes and well, what is it called? SGA did these like step back shot. He was doing like the same shot every time, and it was working every time. Which I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But clearly for the Mavericks, this shit was broke. I don't know why they they weren't able to take advantage of that. Obviously, SGA is a great player, but he's hitting the same goddamn thing. I imagine you figure out how to block that. But yeah, Holmgren hits a great three. An assist to SGA there. SGA got all like the 10 points leading up to that. And then the free throws at the end, obviously, you know what I'm talking about. The Mavericks missed some key free throws. I remember the announcers were like, all right, so what he needs to do is miss the second one. As long as he makes the first, oh, and he just misses the first one. He just totally bricks it. But yeah, so the Mavericks lose this game. The series is all tied up to everyone's surprise, especially with the beginning of this game. SGA had 34, Holmgren 9 rebounds, 18 points. On the other side of the ball, PJ Washington again. I think this is the second game in a row. Washington, because he had 27 last time. He got 21 tonight with 12 rebounds. Jones got 17, and Luka was got a triple double with 12 rebounds, 10 assists, and 18 points. And the last thing I'm going to say is, if you want a reason why the Mavericks ended up blowing this one, 52% free throw and 13 turnovers. Just ain't going to get it done. I don't care what team you're playing against. I don't care how young they are. Thunder took advantage of it. Great job by them. Great coaching. And yeah, I'd like to see the Celtics do that every now and then when we're not making our threes.
Yeah, so I thought that there was some great things that you pointed out. I'm very torn about this because I have like two perspectives, right? First of all, the Mavericks, they shot.
Is one of them that the Thunder are going to get steamrolled, like you said?
Let me speak. Don't jump the gun there because so first of all, Mavericks shooting 52% from the free throw is bizarre to me, right? I look at it from two angles, right? From first angle, I look at it from wow, the Thunder were able to really rally and get a nice tough win. But then but then I look at it and I'm like, how the hell were the Mavericks like in control for the whole first half?
Yeah.
That's scary when you look at the stats. When you watch the game, you look at I think I don't even think Luka and Kyrie combined for like what, 27 points, 28 points?
I'll tell you what, Kyrie didn't even have like 15 because I would have listed him there.
Oh, here, yeah, 9 points. He had 9 points and Luka had 18. Yeah, so Luka had a triple double, right? Cool, but Luka could do that in his sleep. I guess my thing is just like for the Thunder, and again, the Mavericks can easily have another blunder game 2 more times. You're not, and I'm really trying to find a way to say this because I don't want to come across as a Thunder hater. I know at this point I feel like I already have come across as that.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like this is more about the Mavericks losing this game than the Thunder actually winning this game. And it also just goes into like the inconsistencies that we said. Remember, I mean, I think we both agreed on the
you said this. You said this the last time the Thunder won. You said this is more about how bad Luka played.
No, I didn't. That's not what I meant by that. I said that this, but listen, just let me speak, please. The Mavericks, right? The Mavericks played arguably the worst game they've played all season, and they were in control for an entire half. Shot 50% from free throws and lost by 4. What does that tell you? Again, and just so I can finish my other point too, me and you both agreed that the Mavericks are very inconsistent. And this was just another case of it tonight. But it's like, dude, like the Thunder, with the Mavs playing like this, I think anybody else remaining in the playoffs, this would have been a 20 plus point win. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I just truly believe that. And that's why I think,
fair.
but again, I'm looking at it from two perspectives. The one perspective is the Thunder able to rally through that and get a win after not being in control the first half is great. And I'm looking at it more from future standpoints because again, I think within the next 5 years, this Thunder team is going to win a championship. I've been on record saying that. I just don't think
Okay.
they're ready yet. But the Mavericks lost this game themselves, point blank. I mean, they still as bad as they played, had them by the ball still at the end, had an opportunity, as horrible as they played. So I think like
You
the
got to
Mavericks,
clutch up on that. Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying. I think the Mavericks just shot themselves in the foot more than the Thunder really won. I mean, but hey, at the end of the day, a win's a win, and the series is now tied. So at this point, anything could happen. So
Yeah, and the Thunder regained home court. So,
yep, yep.
and it's also one of those things where it's like, and it's hard, right? It is hard to say, but if the Thunder get past the Mavericks, we said that the Mavericks were going to steamroll them, and I'm sure we're going to go into it saying the Nuggets Timberwolves are going to steamroll them. We'll see, like, and by every which right, they should get steamrolled by the Nuggets or the Timberwolves,
Hmm.
but we'll see.
And by the way,
They got home court back. It's awesome for
and
them.
by the way, I'm extremely ecstatic about both because it's like, I thought that there was only going to be one good playoff series in the second round, and we got three of them. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like that's how I was looking. Three of the four are tied at two right now, and I couldn't be happier about that as a basketball fan personally. And I'm even happier that my favorite team isn't one of those. So even better.
It, it it
So
some it somehow feels though like the only series that's tied is is this one. If because it feels like the Nuggets have the Timberwolves by like
oh
as you say by the balls. It feels like the Pacers have the Knicks by the and I understand they're tied and that's what you're saying. It's just and they're all great series. It's just it's so when you said like you're like, yeah, three of the four are tied. I was like, oh yeah. Like I keep going into this like, all right, the Pacers are probably gonna advance or yep, the Nuggets are probably gonna and I look at the Thunder Mavericks and I go, we'll see.
yeah,
But
dude, I just got. By the way, real quick, because I know I wasn't here yesterday. Um, I mean, man, we said, man, if the Nuggets stole that game four, that there is trouble in Minnesota,
oh yeah.
like a lot of trouble, and I think it's so crazy too to see how everything shifts. Like right, like when they were up 2-0, I heard the internet, not the internet, but just all the sports analytics are like Nick Wright on Friday was saying to Wilds, he's like, this series by the time we get here Monday is going to be over, clean sweep. And then he's on TV yesterday. He's like, I never said that. And I'm like, bro, you guys have to start watching like what you guys say because you look like so idiotic. But
You
but anyway,
sound so much like them.
and now that it's tied 2-2, everyone's like, well, Denver might win in six. They might win out. They might just win out. Like, which I do think is on the board, obviously. And I think I might have even said that if they did go 2-2, but I
You
don't know.
did, yeah.
I
You said you
still,
wouldn't be surprised. You said you wouldn't
yeah,
be surprised.
for sure. And I think and the only reason I'm bringing this back up is because I remember before that game, I think we might have just been speaking, just me and you, off air, but we said that last game was going to say a lot about what we would like predict for the rest of the series. And I'm not asking you to predict the rest of the series, but I didn't really get to watch your analysis. So like, what are you thinking going forward now for this series? Or are you still
The
kind of just
Timbies?
like, man, I don't know. Yeah.
No, the Timbies. I think Cat has to play better. I think I said yesterday. I said all this loss goes on Cat. Your superstar is going above and beyond what a superstar should do. And Cat, I think Cat's a star. I think Edwards is a superstar, right? I said your superstar went above and beyond, and you couldn't even pull out an average game. Like you pull out an average game, and you win it, and you're up 3-1 in the series, and that's what you needed because you know that you're going back to Denver after this, either up 3-1 or tied practically down because all the momentum is in the hands of Denver. I think they're potentially toast right now. And the only reason I'm not saying they're actual toast, you know it, is Anthony Edwards. So I I have a bad feeling about the Timbies.
Me
We'll
too.
discuss that more tomorrow because that's because tonight's game day for them. But yeah, I have a bad feeling for him because Jokic has that drive in him once he gets going. Jamal Murray's looking a lot better since having that 4 for whatever friggin' day rest. Um, but yeah, I think the Timbies are in a lot of trouble. Um, Definitely more trouble than any other team that's tied 2-2 right now. Even though the Knicks have taken some blows, probably exhausted and morale is getting against them. I still think the Timberwolves are in a worse spot just because of who they're going up against and who they just blew a 2-0 lead to.
Agreed.
But I think we're going beyond last night's games, so I think we have plenty of time to discuss the Timbies and the Pacers tomorrow because we got some games on tonight. Um, but yeah, you guys for watching. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe, and we'll talk to you later.
Peace.
Did I miss the button? I totally
Thank
missed
you.
the button.